Hello, Millwall fans. Paul Eiffel here. It's time for Chat with Chaps.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Chat with Chaps. And we have, of course, got our second edition of a Millwall Month in Review. And I have my esteemed co-host, Jonesy, joining me again today. We're, of course, going to be looking back at October, mate, which has turned out to be a pretty decent month. Did I just cut out
there? You didn't cut out sound-wise. The picture went, but we're all good.
It flickered up. Jonesy, how you doing, mate?
I'm very well. I think, as the viewers will tell by the title, it's kind of a month in review dedicated to one player and one player only. But a very, very good show to be recording, I think, Ben, and I'm sure we'll have good fun with it.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. But before we get into the month in review and look back at all the games, if you are new round here, if you haven't done so already, please do hit the like button. Please do hit the subscribe button. As ever, everything we're doing this year is for a very good cause in Cancer Research UK, and everything helps in terms of the algorithm, all the sub numbers, everything like that. So really do appreciate all your support. Jonesy, October, mate, where should we start? So obviously the last time we did this, we looked back and did 2 months worth of review. We looked back at August and September. Hopefully this time we can go into the games in a little bit more detail. We recorded last time having known 2 of the results, and that was obviously the Coventry games and West Brom games. So let's talk about them initially as a pair, because we knew the results when we'd spoken about them last time. So on paper, mate, we had a pretty tough set of fixtures, I think, would be fair to say. Mm-hmm. And it's gone pretty well.
Yeah, I think if you'd have looked at the 5 games, I think all 5 teams in their own way would probably be wanting to compete at the right end of the division. I think maybe Stoke have perhaps the anomaly, having had their struggles. Obviously, they've started very well this year, but they might have been maybe not as fancied as the other 4. But all of them would have gone into the season thinking they, warranted of a place in the top 6 and ourselves. So on paper, very, very difficult October. It looked to begin with anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we looked at this month at the end of the last review, I was worried about what laid ahead this month. We obviously had injuries. We weren't in the best of form. Looking at the sides we were playing, I think we'll talk about our predictions for the month later. But yeah, I was quite cautiously optimistic is what I'll go with. But as I said, it couldn't have turned out any better. As I mentioned at the top of this, shall we look at Coventry and West Brom as a pair? Because we did know those results when we recorded last time. So obviously we got a bit of a thumping by Coventry, mate. But I will just start and say I didn't feel like it was a 4-0 defeat. Or did you?
At the ground, it was. I'm not going to lie, it's quite depressing. You get beat 4-0 at home. The Den's supposed to be a fortress. It was a bit, at one point they brought an army, and at one point it was more of them in the ground than us, and it was just a little bit depressing. But I look back, we had more shots. I think we had more possession. I think we had a lot more of the ball, which obviously doesn't always suit us. So I think 4-0 perhaps
4-0
flattered. Yeah. I think it flattered them. Obviously, we now know how good Coventry, the run of form is. And, you can never say a 4-0 is not a bad result, but they're just steamrolling the league at the moment, aren't they? And I think that we do have to take that into some kind of consideration. Not good from our perspective. But again, I think if you look at, Ben, I'll flip this back to you. I'm just going to read out our forward line from that game. We started with Ivanovic, Amaku, Kundal, and Negley. And I know we'll come on to other games, but if you look at that compared to how we've been lining up in recent weeks, I know, okay, maybe a couple of the personnel might have been settled, but looking at those options going forward compared to where we're at now, now we're at the end of the month, you can kind of see why we might have struggled against Coventry with that kind of attacking threat, shall we say?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, knowing what we do now, and obviously how we have finished this month, and the front four that we've almost finished with, obviously completely different, or apart from Ivanovic, but what Ballo and Azeez have given to us since, the quality that we really have lacked in the final third, and I think it was evident in the Coventry game, because in the first half we got into a lot of decent positions, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah,
and it was the usual lack of quality in those positions, bad decisions, and just general, we didn't make most of being in good positions in and around Coventry's box. So, like you said, I think 4-0 was a bit of a flatter result for Coventry. And then if you look at the players we had out, and like I just said there, we didn't make the most of our opportunities. You can't look back on it and just go put a line through it. Is that fair in sort of saying?
Yeah, and I think as well, we'll come on to individual players later. I think Tristan Crammer probably chose the worst game to have his worst game. And he made the mistake for the first goal. It happens, it happens at every level of football, but he just, from that game aside, you think he's been a man mountain at the back, and Coventry took full advantage. It was kind of a perfect storm for them coming to us. They come to us, I think, at the right time. Don't get me wrong, and our better players were out of form on the night as well. So draw a line under it. Obviously, at the time, there was a lot of talk about Neil and where we were going and were we getting the best out of the squad. And I think not from me, and I don't think from you either, there was a lot of talk of, what's the plan here? Doubts on Alex Neil, and then West Brom rolled into town.
I was going to say, let's put a line under the Coventry game and then move into West Brom. Was it 5 changes to the side that obviously faced Coventry?
I think so.
Sturge come in. We just mentioned about the forward players. That forward line was Ballo, Smallbone, Azeez, obviously returning from injury, and Coburn. Would it be fair in saying that none of us expected to then go on and comfortably beat West Brom 3-0? Because I was absolutely shitting myself about that game.
I was, and I think it. A lot of people say about old players. I actually thought Jed Wallace, that was his time. That was the one there where he was going to get his goal. I know he's had his assist and his moments against us since he left us, but I really thought after the Coventry game, it would be him that put another nail in the coffin and that kind of talk. But we were very, very good. There's no other way I put it. We were very, very good. It was a complete chalk and cheese performance to what we saw against Coventry. I think if you look at the game as a whole, again, more shots, possession was fairly even, but we showed that what the Den could be like if we just got on the front foot. That was the most impressive thing. We showed the players that might not have seen it before just how good it can be there if we play well.
Zach Sturge, the emergence of Zach Sturge, we've seen good performances from him when he's played, but probably fair to say a bit of a breakout performance. Obviously, he got his first goal for the club, but all round was excellent. He put in some good performances prior to that. Obviously, thinking about, he was very good against Palace. And someone else he was very good against this year, who I can't remember. But yeah, would you, again, fair in saying sort of the breakout game for Sturge? And obviously, again, knowing what we've known since, he's kept his place in the side and has been very good. But delighted for him to get his first goal for the club.
Absolutely. I think it was his first goal in professional football as well. I know obviously for us, but I think it was in general in his career. I think we all knew that Sturge was coming in perhaps as the understudy to Brian, perhaps then going to take his space, if that makes sense, in the team. That was always going to be the long-term plan with Brian, I think, out of contract. It might have happened a little bit sooner with injuries and perhaps some difficult performances to start up with. But excellent understanding as well with Ballo down that left hand side. That obviously makes a difference. The two of them have linked up very, very well. They linked up for the goal. Very, very good, and probably showing a little bit of the kind of attacking fullback that most Premier League clubs like to see, which is probably why he was on Chelsea's books in the first place. That kind of attacking threat from left back.
Absolutely, and not to labour the point, because you can all see the title of the show, the return of Femi Azeez to the starting lineup, and he marked his return with an absolute beauty. Just how much have we missed Femi Azeez, mate, in the early parts of this season?
Well, I think some idiot turned around and said it was the worst £1 million that the club's ever spent.
I don't know who said that.
I'll be honest with you, I'm talking about myself. I don't know if you said it, but I think I might
I did. Yeah, I think I openly did on the show at some point as well. So someone's got that as a clip somewhere.
Yeah, the two of us. I mean, I get reminded of it pretty much every week by someone on Twitter about my comments about Azeez. And I look, when he first started, he didn't settle. There was clearly a phasing in period, shall we say? But phenomenal since he's been back in the team. I think he makes, and Ballo, to be fair as well, they make the midfielders look better because they've got options to pass the ball to. They're not stuck centrally, like, for example, Negley comes in, they don't have width, so you look like you're a little bit awkward. And I mean, his goal, the goal against West Brom, that typical left-footed winger on the right-hand side, cutting back in and pinging it in the top corner, just phenomenal. And I think really good that, we've said about the lack of goals. We've said about the lack of the strikers are not scoring. I know that we might need to, have other players contributing. But if you're getting goals from out wide, it really does take the burden off of some of the forward players.
Yeah, and just from the creativity perspective as well, mate, I think we've seen. I don't want to kind of talk about the rest of the month too much because we're still just talking about these games. But the creativity that we've seen from Ballo, the creativity we've seen from Femi as a pair, as wide players, and as you say, probably proper wingers. Like they don't do too much cutting in like the Knights and Negley like to do. But it's no surprise to me that we've seen our goal return shoot up quite dramatically, and we're starting to look like we could quite easily score 2 or 3 a game rather than sitting there going, we cannot hit the cow's arse on the banjo here. Like that's how it seemed at times, didn't it? And I don't want to sort of talk about certain players, but you get in good positions and you think, oh, he's just not going to beat the first man, or the delivery's not going to be good. Now it's like, well, if we get at teams or get in good positions, it's like we're almost certainly going to create a decent opportunity. So, yeah, I think the creativity side of it, and obviously the goal return, like you said, mate, especially when Ivanovic isn't on good form at the minute, hasn't been all season, it just certainly helps, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And even down to, we talk about, and I know Maku is one that very much divides opinion. I know he does with yourself as well, but the sort of the excitement that you get perhaps with Maku with his pace only gets you so far, because the end product just flatters to deceive most of the time, and it quickly fizzles out. When Ballo and Azeez get on the ball, that excitement, you genuinely think they're going to do something every single time they get on the ball. And that's what Millwall fans, perhaps older Millwall fans are used to, the two up front, the wingers putting balls into the box. Even, our sort of generation, we grew up with Paul Ifill as an example. So, you get excited by wingers that can deliver and score goals. So certainly masses of improvement from Azeez in a short space of time. Ballo's obviously brought into the club and what he's being asked to do, and the West Brom game was just kind of the start of it, really. That was kind of the emergence. You said the emergence of Zach Sturge, but it was also the emergence of just how good those two boys are going forward.
Totally agree, mate. That's the first 2 games that we played in the month. So I wanted to talk about those as a pair because we had reviewed them.
Yep.
We'd already played those and we'd given our predictions for the month of October. We then rolled in to, which is always a bit of a tricky tie, against QPR at Loftus Road. Just as we started to think, mate, that we were going to get a bit of a settled side, and injuries were returning. Bender gets injured, Coburn gets injured, and we are forced into a couple of changes. We saw Max Crocombe get his first start for the Lions in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to call him out in that game because I thought he was absolutely excellent against QPR. But yeah, let's just go into the game itself, mate. Obviously, a couple of false changes. But again, Femi Azeez started, Ballo started, Smallbone started. So we were starting to get a bit of the continuity that we've just started to speak about in the month. But obviously, a 2-1 victory. I don't want to say it was a sort of tale of two halves because it was more of a tale of early parts of the game, then us, and then they finished strongly, didn't they? So, But yeah, obviously, great result, mate. What were your thoughts on the QPR game?
I thought we were actually better than people give us credit for. I think one of the pundits, and I can't think who it was that did, because it was on Sky, wasn't it?
John, was it Goodman? Was Goodman?
Oh, whoever the main commentator was said something like,
I think control or something like that, didn't he?
Yeah, but sometimes you have to weather the storm and take your moments when you get them in the Championship, and that's what we did. We had a couple of moments of quality again from Femi Azeez, also Billy Mitchell. As much as QPR had a lot of the ball, Crocombe, who I thought, like you said, was excellent, made a save very, very early. Didn't really have a lot of saves to make. They seem like one of these, you sort of call them pretty sides, who have a lot of the ball, they move it quickly. But if you actually
they squandered a lot of good opportunities, Jonesy.
Yeah.
Like they got in some good positions early, and I think was it Paul Smith? I remember him beating a couple players, and he stuck one over the bar or wide. Kone had one that I thought, well, if he hits the target, he scored, and he put it over the bar. So but I agree, Crocombe wasn't sort of making save after save, and we were hanging on. It never felt like that.
No. And I think they had 15 shots in the game, and I only think it was 2 on target. They obviously scored from one, which Crocombe couldn't do anything about. It was, past rounding sort of thing. And it was only our own sort of doing that we went defensive, really. We took off Ballo, and I think Azeez went as well, and we just sat back. Neil has done a very good job. Not going to sit here and criticise him, but I think he might have got it slightly wrong that day. If we'd have just brought on maybe a Maku.
Yeah, I thought that game, and at that point when we made the changes, mate, I thought he was crying out for a Maku.
100%. Also, obviously, Mihailo getting his first goal of the season, an important moment. Again, knowing what we know now, he hasn't maybe set off a run of form, but you could see the relief on his face when the ball hit the back of the net. Again, I know Azeez doesn't fully get credited because it took a nick, but great ball sort of into the box. Again, delivery, we talk about the difference of having wide players putting the ball over, Ivanovic getting his goal. I thought it was a good away performance. You have to expect, and I often say this, and you hear people at the ground, sometimes I think our supporters, us included, expect us to be excellent on the ball for 90 minutes. We're not going to do that, and teams are not going to let us do that, especially away from home. So was happy to let QPR have as much of the ball as they did, because it never really looked like they were going to score. They did towards the end, and we had to hold on a bit, but well worth the 3 points. Played well in stages. You can't just sit here with rose-tinted glasses. We did let them back into the game. We did allow them to dominate us at times, but a win in the London derby, first start for Crocombe in the league. They sometimes say, don't they, when players get injured, someone else gets an opportunity, and certainly he looked like he was ready to take it.
He did, mate, and as I said, I was very impressed with him. He obviously made that very good save pretty much straight from kickoff, very, very early in the game. But it was more, I think Bex has spoken on the live about his confidence scares her a bit. I'm the complete opposite. I love his confidence. It's like I feel in total confidence with him on the pitch. He's obviously a very decent shot stopper. We've already seen a couple from him since he started. But his ability to command the area, I like, mate, and his ability from crosses. He's very confident in those respects. And I'd rather almost somewhat a keeper be overconfident in that than look shaky. Do you get what I mean by that? He certainly looks confident all the time.
Yeah, and I think look, it's really difficult because you don't want to go in on our players, but someone like Stephen Bender, who clearly has had a difficult start, and then Crocombe comes in, the back four look comfortable with him. They look like and I'm not saying that we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but they already look more confident in him than they do Bender, which is obviously a little bit of a concern if he does come back in. I also thought in the QPR game when he pulled his hand down from that shot that hit the crossbar,
I love
that is real confidence, because you look like an idiot if obviously that flies in. But he knows he's an experienced goalkeeper. It doesn't matter necessarily what level you play at. You know your 6-yard box. You know sort of the frame of the goal, and if you back yourself, you know it's good to see, and he clearly does.
You say he's an experienced keeper, man. He is in terms of age, but I was having a look. He hasn't played like a huge amount of first team games. Like you'd be surprised. It's not a huge number, which again has surprised me. Like because I think this is sort of the highest level he's played at. Certainly in England, which again I'm amazed at. But yeah, listen, we kind of touched upon it. His confidence already has instilled confidence in me, and I would like to see him retain his place even when Bender is fit.
Yeah, agreed.
Would be my opinion on that. Just want to stay with the QPR game for a little bit longer, mate. The goal we scored, unbelievable pass and vision from Billy, unbelievable desire from Femi to get on the end of it. Keeper actually made a fairly decent first save, and then obviously the rebound Femi sticks in. But just to touch on Billy, I didn't think it was his best performance, certainly in the first 20-30 minutes. I thought he was a little bit sloppy. But yeah, great vision and a great vision and great pass to put Femi in, and a very good goal in the end.
Yeah, I think he started a little bit hectic. I think Billy.
It was a hectic game, wasn't it? It was 100 mile an hour. It was like a proper old cup game, it felt like.
Proper derby, like a cup game, like you said. It was hectic. I think just to touch on as well, obviously we lost Massimo Luongo. We obviously out for the season. We didn't know at the time.
My next talking point, mate.
I do apologise, but it was, to me, no coincidence that we settled when Casper come on the pitch. He won the ball back as well for the first goal to give to Billy, and I think Billy has been excellent. He's been excellent. And sometimes he just needed, I don't know, he needed Casper. He might have come on and said something to him like, "Come on, Bill." Do you know what I mean? It's just something that got him going, and then he was back to the Billy Mitchell that we've been seeing for the majority of the season. Was very, very good. Femi again, rich vein of form. Interestingly, we talk about them being old school proper wingers, but getting himself in the box, you don't score if you're not in the box. And it was a good run, good take, awkward control to give himself the chance.
It was an excellent first touch, actually.
Yeah,
it was obviously awkward for him.
And it took it away from the goalie, and the goalie then kind of was thinking, what's he going to do? Where's he going to go? Good save, you have to say, in the first effort, but then putting in the rebound and yeah, very, very good goal. What you want to see your midfielders getting assists. You want to see your forward players scoring goals, and can't ask for much more than that.
No, absolutely. And lastly, I know you touched upon it sort of already, mate, but yeah, Ivanovic to get his first league goal this season. You mentioned saw the relief when it went in. It's actually a very good header, and not to sort of go back to a negative part of that game, but he definitely should have scored the opportunity he had before. Had that, but I think it's a general consensus, had that chance have been after the goal, I think he would have scored. I think he would have had the confidence to stick his head on it. I think he was just a little bit tentative, maybe thinking he might have got wiped out by the keeper, or the keeper was going to come and claim everything. But yeah, obviously very important for him to get his first goal this season.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. The other way around, he probably got two. Unfortunately, it wasn't that way. It was a good finish. The only one to really react to the ball in the box, the QPR defenders obviously didn't, And it is important. I think obviously we'll come on to perhaps Mihailo a bit later, but um, relief more than anything, and at least it's off his back now. So hopefully, as I say, it hasn't transpired just yet. It's only been 2 games since he got that goal, so you do have to kind of curb that with those numbers. But at least that's off his back now, and he can maybe look forward rather than thinking, I need a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the QPR game. So where are we now? 6 points from 9 in October. Starting to feel very positive about the month, mate. I called out that I thought Stoke was going to be potentially a bit of a tricky tie for us. Certainly Mark Robins being there. Probably sick to death of Millwall fans listening to this. And I know he ever talks about his admiration for Mark Robins. I do love him. He's a very good manager. But I think, again, general consensus from a lot of fans, certainly our best performance of the season by a country mile, best 45 minutes again by a country mile, and some have said the best performance we probably had under Alex Neil. A 2-0 win, mate. Again, we were superb, weren't we?
We were unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I have to say that I will do this. My dad could only make the game at half time. He worked shifts, so he couldn't get there. But he was adamant he was coming after we beat QPR. I've got to be there. So I jokingly said before the game, I went, "Oh, we'll be 2-0 up at half time. You'll turn up, nothing will happen." Obviously, that's exactly how it transpired. But we were brilliant. That first half, we could have gone in at half time probably 4 or 5-0 up. People say we could have won the game 4 or 5. We could have gone in at half time at that. That Stoke have got the best goalkeeper in the league by a long way, in my opinion, Victor Johansson, and he kept them in the game massively all evening. Ballo coming of age performance. You can see why he was, he's an international, was on Chelsea's books. Azeez again, not a typical winger's goal. Header at the back post, just utterly dominant, all over them. They didn't know what hit them. Stoke, I think they must have gone in at half time. Thought, bloody hell, like this isn't the type of game that we expected. The crowd got into it for a midweek game. That's sometimes a bit of a sticking point, isn't it, with the attendances and stuff? But superb, absolutely superb.
Yeah. I mean, we were. They had what? 10, 15 minutes in the second half, which you expected. They would have got a volley at half time. But again, they weren't even half chances they had, were they? They were sort of just snippets of opportunities. And again, that's probably being generous. Yeah, but like you said, mate, we were absolutely excellent. Just want to touch upon the lineup again. When we thought we were getting a little bit settled, Billy was out with illness. Derek, shout out for Del Boy. He obviously came in having been left out of the squad completely against QPR, and again came in and worked his nuts off, and even was trying to dribble, shoot, score, do everything towards the end of the game. A little shout out for him, mate, because again, to be left out of the squad, I'm sure not easy, even though he probably wasn't expected to be in around the first team as quickly as he has been. But yeah, not easy to be left out of the squad completely and then being chucked straight into start. So a little shout out for Del Boy from me.
100%. Shout out to whoever it was that decided that he was the one. There was clearly a profile they were looking for across Europe, the UK, whatever, that type of build for a midfielder. He's never let us down. Whenever he's had to play, whenever he's been called upon, he's not let us down. He clearly, that real strong physical midfielder, has got legs. I tweeted after the game, in jest, I want the statue immediately. It's just one of those where you look at our options in midfield, and I know we've lost Mass, but whether it's Derek and Denor, whether it's Derek and Billy or Billy and Denor, you're happy with whoever plays, because they are very, very good. And also with him, he actually won the free kick that led to the second goal. Desire to get there first before the Stoke player, knew he was going to get clattered and took the foul, and obviously you go on to score, so that gets a little bit sort of more of a mention. But very, very good find from the club, and of course, it could have been easy for Alex Neil to put Kundal in there, someone with a little bit of experience, but he's gone, no, I'm putting him back in. I trust him, and rightly so.
Yeah. And as I said, we've said it a couple of times already, but for me, certainly our best performance this season by a country mile. We were just excellent from start to finish. And that leads us on to, 9 from a possible 12, and we're starting to go, hold on a minute, what's going on here? A very good month, not even pending, it is just fully happening. So then we roll into
sorry Ben, just before we move on from that game, one other thing, a little bit of a negative to come out of it was the loss of Will Smallbone.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to mention that.
I think he's been better than maybe what stats might look like. I think he's been a good addition, another good find from the club on deadline day, but unfortunately going down with an injury or running with the ball, it's not even a tackle. It never looks good, does it? So we now know he's out perhaps for a longer period of time. Little bit of a blow again when you've said it a couple of times. We thought we'd be settled, and unfortunately another player lost.
Absolutely, and hopefully it's like you say, when it's off the ball and it's not a tackle or anything like that. They're ones you fear the worst, right? Because they're obviously muscle injuries or worse. So hopefully he's back with us soon. Because I'm the same as you, mate. I don't think he's got the credit he's deserved since he's come into the side. He had an injury last year, so he's getting himself back to full fitness. I don't like talking about this too much, but I'm sure he's come to us to play and not sit on the bench. He probably would have had a lot of clubs interested in him as well. I'm a big fan of Smallbone, so hopefully he's back soon. One thing I will just point out though, and Chris actually highlighted this to me when I was speaking to him. In the 10, it's probably the only position where we can afford to lose a player or two because we've got a lot of options there now, mate. So I don't want to say it's nice to lose anyone. It's not. But if a position was, if injuries were to hit in a certain position, in the 10 is one that we're probably well stocked and covered in.
Yeah, it's there and probably left back. The two spots that you go, if you lose one, you've got another one ready made to play. Okay, you have your first choice and whatnot, but we on this channel, me as an individual, I think yourself, have been calling for more of Bangura Williams. Again, whether or not how much game time he'll get, Kundal, which will come on to the Leicester game, Kundal held onto the shirt after Smallbone's absence. But I agree. There's certainly options. Even the likes of Negley could play in there.
He's the one for me as well, mate. I'd like to see him in there. I'm adamant he's not a wide player, certainly in the Championship. I just don't think he's quick enough to play in that position. So for me, if we are going to see more of Negley, and he needs to put his socks up a bit because he's not been great for the money that we've spent. I will say that. We've seen flashes of what he can produce, mate. But I certainly want to see more from him. But going back to the original point, I think the 10 will be his position for us in the Championship.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's options, isn't it? Neil has a decision to make. And
that, mate, fair play to him. Sorry to jump in. Fair play to him for making that decision because it would have been quite easy for him saying, we spent a lot of money on Negley. We're going to keep forcing him, but he hasn't. We've obviously got Azeez and Ballo obviously being on loan. He's probably the one where you go, well, we don't have to play Ballo because we've got Negley. And fair play to Alex Neil. He hasn't just tried to force Negley in the side. He hasn't been in the best of form, has he?
No, I think there's perhaps a hint of that. There was a hint of that. I know Azeez was coming back from fitness, and I think it was a case of play Negley. We've got to try and get him involved. We've got to try and utilise. We've spent some money on him, but much like I hope when the decision comes, perhaps with Stephen Bender, he's coming on loan from the Premier League. If you've got players who are better options or in better form, they should be playing, and that's what's happened. Azeez has come in and he's knocked the shirt off of Negley, and he's gone, well, you ain't getting it back. Or you're certainly not getting it back for the time being, and that's what you want. That's what you need from everyone in the squad, and maybe Kundal can do that in the 10. I don't know. We'll come on to. I thought he did quite well in the Stoke game when he come on, and we'll move on to Leicester. But yeah, the 10 is probably the position you would go, well, we've got good options. It's not the end of the
It's
world.
not the end
It's
of the
just
world.
annoying. It's just annoying that it's another injury.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And as you said, then we go into the Leicester game, absolutely full of confidence now. But again, I predicted 1-1 on the live, just because, again, you're going, it's Leicester, they're going to be a good side. Had I have watched Chris's preview with the Leicester pods before the live, I probably would have actually changed my mind, because they weren't confident at all. It didn't seem like they were confident. Yeah, obviously, again, mate, a fantastic result. And dare I say 1-0 flattered Leicester?
To a certain extent, I think, much like the Stoke game, I would imagine that they probably would have received a bit of a volley from the manager at times, especially half time, going in behind. They have a lot of the ball. They've got wingers that have played in the Premier League, other players as well. But again, they didn't really do anything with it. And we've been very good over the years when we've been in the Championship of making the top sides, or the so-called top sides, look average at times. We say to them, come on and break us down, and they can't do it. And I think on another day we probably do score more than one. Maybe you could say, yeah, the penalty, that's a 50-50, isn't it, really? But we again, well worth the money. Worked hard. Defensively, Ryan Leonard is one of the best games I think he's ever had for us. He was absolutely superb. Tristan Crammer, we spoke about, excellent across the season. But just, you can tell the players that they're going out, and this is the biggest sort of testament you can give to Alex Neil and the players. Alex Neil was saying to our players, this is what I want you to do, and this is how I want you to play. They're going out there, they're doing it, and we're winning. And what more can you ask as a fan? You can't really.
I think the thing that I'm loving about us at the minute, mate, is we can win in all manner of ways. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the QPR game, probably wasn't the prettiest. We didn't play our best in terms of football, but we dug it out. We defended really well. We didn't look like really being in too much trouble. Then you look at the Stoke game, we were far more fluid going forward. Some of the football at times was as good as I've seen us in memory, really. I think that's the pleasing thing for me, man. And again, with Leicester, we kind of had a bit of both. We were good at times, then we were solid when we needed to be. And I think that's the pleasing thing for me at the minute, mate, is we're winning games in all manner of ways. Yeah,
absolutely. And whilst, Femi Azeez is kind of the poster boy at the moment, and rightly so, you cannot underestimate the job. For example, again, Derek held his place against Leicester, and I thought he was excellent. Casper, excellent. Cooper and Crammer, the two centre halves, very, very good, solid. I think Chris said it on his post match that Cooper is seemingly in our box winning every header. You'd expect him to for his height, but he's just there every time the ball comes into the box. He's winning it, and if it does go over the top and maybe he's not going to get there, he's got Tristan to get there to cover him a little bit. So superb performance, superb to cap off a week of 3 games with 9 points, 2 clean sheets. We're fighting, as you said, we're finding ways to win games. It's a bit like the old saying, isn't it? Horses for courses. Sometimes you gotta find a way against better opposition, against lesser opposition, and at the moment, Neil's coming up with the answers.
I think Alex Neil is, the players are. I think it's just a very, very good time to be a Millwall fan, mate, isn't it? And 100%. If someone had said to me we'd be sat in third on 23 points, 2 points behind Borough, come the end of October, I don't know if I'd have laughed, but I would have gone, in your dreams. I think,
absolutely.
Mate. Certainly after just what had been going on, like you said, we started the month and ended last month. It was just a little bit. And Alex wasn't under any pressure. I don't want to sort of say he was, but it was the first time we kind of felt. Again, I'm not concerned, but it wasn't right, was it? It just didn't feel right. Not again, I don't mean Alex Neil, but just the way we were playing and things weren't happening, all the injuries, and it just it was the first time under his management that we've gone for a little bit of a rough spell. But as I said, credit to him, credit to the players. We have turned it around tremendously. There is a couple of things I just want to ask you, and I haven't prepped you for this, but I'm going to ask you them anyway, mate. There is a common theme throughout all of our results this month. What is it?
Femi Azeez.
That could have been the answer, but no.
There's a common theme.
I'll give you a little bit more of a hint. It's to do with one stat. So an in-game stat.
Have we had less of the ball?
In all 4 of our wins, mate, we have had less of the ball than our opposition.
I'll tell you what, though.
I just wanted to highlight that because it's something we've spoken about, or it's been spoken about quite a lot, that we generally struggle when we have more of the ball. We had 63% possession against Coventry.
Do you know what? That was what I was going to say. It's amazing that the thing is, you look at us and we know that we don't want the ball. We know what we're trying to do. But the difference between early season and now is that we've got that quality to make our moments count. Prior to perhaps the West Brom game, we were like, desperately searching for some quality in the final third that just wasn't happening. So we're making our moments count, we're making our possession count, we're taking our chances, and that's the difference. And I don't care. People sometimes get a bit grumbly at home when the opposition have the ball. I don't care if the opposition have the ball, because when we have it, I feel like we're going to score, and that's the difference. That is
the difference, and that's the key point, mate, isn't it? It's like we said earlier. Now I feel like every time we get on the ball, something's going to happen, or we're going to, we're just going to do something. And I think that's the difference. It's not us just completely sitting in, soaking up pressure and trying to score from a set piece. It's let them have a bit more on the ball where it's not going to hurt us, and then when we get it, we know we can hurt them. So it's a completely different way of not playing, but we look dangerous when we do get it.
And it's no coincidence, and I wanted to get this in this review, we're still unbeaten away from home. We're going into November. I know we've got a few. I think there's
you've
three
said that
away.
Now when we're going to visit Oxford and Gabby Rowett as our next freaking game.
I know. But the point about the possession is that away from home, you typically do have less of the ball. You do. The opposition are going to be on the front foot, and we don't mind that. That's fine. It's sometimes it might be nice to go 2-3-0 up and a little bit more comfortable, but we're comfortable saying come and break us down because we think we're good enough to stop you doing it. I know Oxford, and it'd be interesting because I can't imagine that they are a team that are high up in the possession stats in the division. I don't know for sure, but it'd be interesting.
Outside, mate. They're definitely not going to be, are they?
There you go. It'd be interesting how we go there, but in terms of that is obviously to come. We've found a way of playing. We found a way of our best players to be involved in games of football, and we're winning games of football. 23 points again before November. I don't remember that happening forever. I don't even think when we're in the League One days we ever had that many points at this time. So. Just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal effort.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. That probably leads us nicely into our sort of roundup then of the month, mate. Rating, what are we giving it? I think it's probably again unanimous here. It's probably an A+, isn't it? Given it what we did last time.
Do you know what? I don't think you could give it anything other than. I know people will say that Coventry was in there and it was a disappointing performance, but to win 4 games in a row at any level of football is a good effort, especially one as competitive like this. A+ for me. The effort that the players have put in, the emergence of some of our players have just been excellent, and I think it would be incredibly harsh to knock them at all for that personally.
I would agree, mate. But if you do disagree with that, let us know in the comments down below and give us your reasoning. I mean, obviously it's going to be because of the Coventry game, but more detail than that, please, because I think it's certainly an A+ month. Let's move on to goal of the month, mate. I think again we're probably going to be unanimous in this one. But what was your goal of the month, mate?
I think Femi Azeez You know, the goal against West Brom was just outstanding. It just absolutely phenomenal. The pass from Billy, the little touch, the finish. You know, he's. I don't think there's any. What else can you say? We've scored some good goals. We've played some good football, but you can't. You just can't. You don't see many goals like that from at Millwall, really, do you? And I don't mean that disrespectfully. You know, we score a lot of goals with balls
How we
into
do
the
now,
box.
mate.
Well, not well. Let's see. Let's see. So, all I would say is, do you think many of our other players would have the ability to take that ball down and smash it into the top corner?
Yeah, I'd my Macklin all day. All day.
That is a lie. That is a lie.
That is a lie. That is a lie.
I'm assuming you're the same. You're the
I
same
was when I said that again unanimously. Yeah, it was the best goal, but I will change it just for something different, and I will give it to Femi Azeez again, but I will give it for his goal in the last game against Leicester. And I was also going to give credit to Kasper for an unbelievable pass, mate. So I'll just to change it, I'll give it to Femi again, but in the Leicester game. And obviously, big credit to Kasper for an unbelievable pass.
I think that is one where we can say in the comments, if you agree with Ben, please feel free to agree.
Let me just caveat that. I 100% think Femi's against West Brom was number one, but just to say something different, I will say.
Right, okay, fine. But if you don't agree, if you think, I think you could argue that the ball from Ballo for Aziz's goal against Stoke, very, very good. If you've got another goal that you'd like to recognise, please put it in the comments. But I think you'd be hard pushed. I think you'd be hard pushed to go against Femi v West Brom.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And then again, leading into Player of the Month, I am not going to say who it obviously is going to be. Again, just for a change. But go on, mate. Tell me why Femi Azeez is Player of the Month.
Before I do that, I am gonna give Tristan Crammer his props first, because on any other given month, again, take the Coventry game aside, people would be absolutely raving about him. They are still, and they are talking about how good he's been, his level of performance. But Azeez is obviously outshining him with his goals and assists. But Tristan, superb. I said it the other day, one of the best exports that's ever come out of France. Just brilliant. But Player of the Month, again, unanimously, I think, across most Millwall supporters is Femi Azeez. Coming of age, settled, looking fit, bag of tricks, looks like gets you off your seat. You can't ask for much more from a Millwall winger, and long may it continue. The guy is in the form of his life. His value, I know we don't want to talk about selling players, but his value's rocketing every week.
Certainly not going to be £1 million anymore, mate. I'll tell you that.
No, and you know what? I'm going to go on record and say it's possibly the best £1 million we've ever spent, not the worst.
I couldn't agree more, mate. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, listen, again, it is Femi Azeez. Obviously, he's been unbelievable. If he doesn't win Player of the Month in the league as well, mate, I will be knocking on a door down at EFL headquarters, because not that I'm taking much notice of other clubs, but it is no way he cannot be Player of the Month.
The only issue is Thomas Asante, I think, at Coventry. He's the only one that might have something to say about it.
No chance.
But I agree. I think I think it'd be an absolute disgrace if he doesn't win it.
Agreed, mate. But again, just for the sake of this, to say someone different, I actually had two I was going to mention. I'm going to say Max Crocombe, because I think he's been excellent in goal for us. Mm-hmm. As you said, mate, 3 clean sheets. Yeah, he's been excellent since we come in. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out. Mm-hmm. Jake Cooper as well, I wanted to give a shout out to, because he is someone who does not get the credit he deserves from Millwall fans. Like you mentioned it in the Leicester game, mate. He wins every header, wins every tackle. He's not the quickest of centre-half. He's not a mobile centre-half in modern-day footballing terms, but he is... Oh, here's a question. There's probably one from... He's a Millwall legend, right?
Yes.
Or he's getting
I think for a centre-half, the ones that throw themselves about usually get red cards and injuries. For his consistency and the number of games he's played is phenomenal. Again, you're right. Cooper will always divide opinion, and again, the comments. This is probably the one bit where the comments might go either way. But there's weeks where you just think, oh God, what's he doing? But overall, if you watch Cooper in the big games when we're under pressure, he will make that last ditch tackle. He will win the header. He's there when you need him. And I think you're right. He doesn't get the credit.
He doesn't get the credit he deserves, mate.
No, he doesn't.
So yeah, I wanted to call him out. So Crocombe, Coops, and the other one I wanted to call out was obviously Ballo. I think he's been excellent for someone who's come in on loan. Obviously come from the Austrian league, which I can't imagine is anywhere near as physical as the Championship. Obviously, you mentioned Chelsea, ex-Chelsea in terms of youth, so it's not like he's new to the country completely, but I think he's been excellent, mate, and our level of output, like we've already spoken about, going forward between him and Femi have just been unbelievable. So, I just wanted to give sort of special mentions to him. Oh, actually, and Zach Stearns, number 4 as well, because we did mention him earlier. He's been brilliant. Listen, they've all been really good, haven't they? But,
That's it. You, as I said earlier, the highest praise we can give the players in Nil at the moment is that they're being asked to play a system. They're being asked to do jobs by the manager. They're going out and doing it, and they're winning games of football. And I didn't
even mention Kramer there, mate. And you mentioned him, so that's half the team we just mentioned in that
exactly.
But unanimously, obviously Femi Azeez, and if he doesn't win EFL Player of the Month. I think we should all be going down to EFL.
We riot.
So knocking on the doors, absolutely. So that is October, mate. What an October it has been. I'm sure we're going to do a few of these moving forward, and they're definitely not going to be as pleasant as this one.
No.
Let's now look forward to November. And how many fixtures do we have? 2, 4, 6 games in November. Now, I'm in two minds with my prediction. So, as I'm hosting today, I'm going to let you go first. And just so you said, let's actually, before we do that, let's just review our October predictions. Because I believe, Jonesy, you are 1-0 up in the monthly prediction between you and I. Yep. You predicted last month for 9 points, and I said 8. So, well done to you, mate. We obviously got 12. So, 1-0 to you.
Absolutely. I'm glad you've clarified it's 1-0. We won't be doing the predictions anymore. We'll stick with a 1-0 win, and that'll be that.
That's it. Shut up shop. So 6 games in November, mate. We're obviously away to Oxford, away to Birmingham, home to Preston, away to Pompey, home to Sheffield Wednesday, and then home to Saints. So looking at that, we are now coming into a favourable set of fixtures, I would say, in terms of league positions. How do you think we're going to get on in November, mate?
Do you know what? Before we obviously the listeners for listeners' benefit, I was thinking about this before. We obviously said we were going to record.
That's handy, man. I'm pleased you've been thinking about it.
I've been because I knew we'd get to this point, and on paper, right? And I know football's not one on paper, but on paper, you'd look at it and go, we're on here for another good month. But we all know that that's not how football works. And, we've got the Rowett factor. Sheffield Wednesday are obviously potentially with a little bit of resurgence. I know they lost at the weekend, but, with the ownership changing, they could find some form. Portsmouth, obviously a tough place to go. Southampton surely won't be in the position they're in. I'm gonna stick my neck out a little bit here, and this could come back to haunt me massively at the end of the month. I'm going to say we're going to get 13 points.
Would you like to break those down for us, mate? Jesus. What would that be? Unbeaten in about 15 games or something by then?
Yes.
Would it be? 6, unbeaten in 10 then, would it be?
Well, it depends when we lose, because we're going to lose. Eventually, we're going to lose a game. Well,
no.
Law of averages says we're going to lose. We're going to lose a game. I think. Here we go. You're going to put me on a spot here. I think we beat Oxford. I know we're talking about this Gary Rowett thing, but I think we go there and we win.
Oxford pending then.
I think Birmingham will be a point. I think Birmingham will be a point. I think we'll beat Preston at home. This might be the one. This might be the one that that surprises you a little bit. I think the defeat might come at Portsmouth. It's just after the international break. I know we the hoodoo was broken with QPR because we've never been good after the break, have we? We don't ever seem to win, but we did against QPR. But I think that might come back to haunt us there. I think Sheffield Wednesday. I know I said about the resurgence, but we've got to be winning that game at home. Have to be winning that game at home. And Southampton, don't fear them. Don't fear any of the teams with a bigger name. So
the only thing I'll say about that, Jonesy, is Will still could be sacked by then.
He could, and again, things could change. But
if it's the Will still there now, same Southampton, I would fancy us at home. And again, we'll talk about teams having more possession. They will 100% have more possession. I think we'll beat them. However, it's that I was just thinking a little bit ahead and thinking he might be sacked by them.
He could, and it could change. But I'm putting my neck out on the line. I think it's 4 wins, a draw, and a loss in November for the Lions. That might be blind faith. I may have been sucked in by your 100 points, 100 goals agenda that every time we win a game that comes out. But I think we've got to stop with this. We've really got to stop with this. We're playing it's Gary Rowett's team. It's a team at the bottom. That's got to go. We've got to get rid of that mentality. If Alex Neil wants to get us promoted and we want to be challenging, we've got to be going into games, looking at them going, we've got to be coming here and winning. And I know that's hard to do as Millwall fans, but that's the mindset I'm trying to get myself in.
And I think that was part of the reason why we were disappointed with our sort of start, right? Because we all had that expectation going into this season. But I think
absolutely
the positivity, the optimism is obviously well and truly back now for us. I'm going to go with 11 points, and I don't want to break that down. Thank you. No, I will. I think we'll beat Oxford. I think we'll draw to Birmingham. I think we'll beat Preston. That's 7 points. I think we'll draw to Pompey. I think we'll beat Sheffield Wednesday, and I just have this feeling that we will lose to Southampton because of the reasons I just mentioned. I see them sacking Will Still by then, and they'll just have a new manager bounce.
So just to clarify, you've got us 9 unbeaten.
Yeah.
Well, look, listen. In the chat, and look, sometimes it might come across we're taking the piss a little bit here with these kind of things or being a little bit over the top. So you can't help but get sucked in by these things. But if you look at the fixtures, and I agree with you, Ben, I think you have to be thinking that way. In the comments, if you don't agree with what we say and you don't think that we're going to get those points again, let us know and let us know what you think. But from my perspective, you've got that mentality, and Neil has that mentality. There's none of this. It's not like what it was before. It's we're playing a game of football and we're coming to win. There's none of this, underdog or what might happen. So it could be blind faith. We could be sat here next month and thinking, God, what did we do? But I genuinely think we could be in for another good month and then heading into December and Christmas in a really good position.
Cue all the comments now, you pair of jokers. All that sort of thing. No, please do give us your predictions down below. Let us know how you think we're going to get on in November. That's the whole part of this review show that we're doing, isn't it, James? We want everyone to interact and get as many comments and predictions as possible. So, please do let us know down below how many points you think the Lions are going to get in November. I think that's it, mate, isn't it? Any final thoughts?
No, as I say, we do this because it's fun to look back, and it's fun for us to do it every month. Because I'm at the back end of the year we might do a season in review and kind of look back at our takes, our comments, Cup, and
won the league. It'd be a great one to do, mate.
But there you go. See, stick around. But it's in the cards. Ben's already told us what's happening for the rest of the season. But no, it's good fun, and it's easier to do these when you're in good form than when you're in bad form. But we will continue to do them through the season. We'll continue to
We might not be talking for an hour on those ones, mate. But
no,
yeah,
no, absolutely, absolutely. But if there's anything, like we said on the last one, if there's anything that you guys out there that watch us that want us to do you think there's anything else we should be reviewing or something that we can improve on, whatever that may be, let us know. We look at all the comments. I know we look at it individually. Chris looks at them as well, but we take all feedback on board, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. So please let us know. And Ben, take it away.
Yeah, well, just on the comments, Dean, you can now put in Femi Azeez's goal was the best one for this month. So just letting that out there. So yeah, Dean, get right in, please. But yeah, no, mate, really enjoyed that. It was obviously one of all of us probably were looking forward to. It's been an unbelievable month for the club, for the players, for the fans. Yeah, very enjoyable to talk back through it. As I started the show, I'm going to end it in the same way. If you are new around here, or you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel. It will really help. Please do give us a thumbs up as well. It really helps the algorithm. And as we've been saying, please leave all your predictions, your comments, your thoughts for not only October, but looking ahead to November in the comments down below as well. And I'll wrap it up by saying 100 points, 100 goals. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.